We're back to the Valor Cup wildcards. This will be the match point for Resurgence and Hexa Alpha. If they do not win, rather Hexa Alpha does not win this game, this will be Resurgence moving on to the finals.
Yeah, for this match, we're yet to determine who will New Era face off against in the best of 5 finals later. Of course, Resurgence after that Game 1 victory are now on match point. Hex Alpha need to win 2 games if they want to have any hope of, actually any chance of going all the way to the finals. So yeah, hope maybe for this game 2 they can bounce back.
Reality is harsh for Hexa Alpha for losing that Game 1. Now at a risk of being knocked off the semifinals here before moving on to the finals. But now, let's see. What can Hexa Alpha do, M8 Hexa Alpha do in this drafting?
Tara actually being banned out here by Resurgence, not wanting to give Hexa Alpha that pick. But looking back at the previous picks, it really didn't have that big individual player standing out for Resurgence. It was more of a team effort which led to them securing that victory. But Zenial has been left open. One of the really strong picks that has been banned throughout the day. Hopefully though, Hexa Alpha do have a counter ready for this, because you wouldn't normally leave a pick this strong open unless you had a plan to deal with it.
And the plan is there. We are willing to trade up for the Zenial with an Alice and a Chalknard being left open.
Yeah, the response though will be the Lubu and the Violet secured here for Resurgence. So looking at their first few picks here, the Lubu has been a strong split pusher throughout the day, and the Zenial really complements that. So Resurgence really building towards quite a strong lineup, as Hex Alpha are going to be locking in these Zephyrs for their lineup.
Last rotations here, 30 seconds left on the timer. Looks like we're already seeing one of the picks here, Zenial and Lubu. I'm pretty sure I can expect, let's say, a L'Oreal. We're seeing it right now in the hover. Will it be locked in? Yes, it does.
Yeah, it will be locked in, paired up with the Stain as well, having that big front line for all of that crowd control and initiate for your team. I wonder though what the last pick will be for Hexa Alpha.
This is
curious. Hovering over a lot of their options
Malak is
here.
open, so they may offer the Malak because it's being paired up with the Cephas. They were forced to give the Lubu, but the Jogner and Alice was left open. This is going to be a double support being run by Hexa Alpha.
Yeah, and the big thing here is the Zenial has been left open, a pick that we've seen banned throughout today. So let's see how this pans out for Resurgence. As for Hexa Alpha, they have picked up both the Zephys and the Malak, so having that double dive combo where the Zephys goes in and paired up with the Malak, so much options to engage. The question is, will the follow-up be there for their team?
And now as we head on to the battlefield, this will be match point for Resurgence and M8 Hexa Alpha.
Yeah, it look Resurgence only 1 win away from facing off and setting up that rematch versus Will New Era in today's final. As for Hex Alpha, they are 2 wins away from setting up a rematch versus Will New Era.
So let's see how things will pan out in our game 2. A very decisive game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a race, Vulcan. Whoever gets to 2 wins first. That's how best of 3 works.
Definitely. And yeah, most commonly, that's the knowledge there. And let's hope that for M8A, they do have what it takes to shake things off, because they are entering this game set of matches with not the highest morale.
Yeah, we're headed into the battlefield, just waiting for the minions to spawn till all this action begins. What we've seen throughout most of the day though, that some of these teams decide to always go for that invade and try to steal a buff. We haven't seen that much fighting. It usually all just goes off once a team picks up first blood. Everything just follows suit. Everybody begins setting up for place. Or specifically around the Abyssal Dragon area.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh yes. Looks like
another invade. Yeah, we called it.
Or they're going for the invade here onto the Might buff. Looks like it will force Resurgence to back off.
Yeah, that was a bit too many members for the Zenial to deal with. But it will be traded off once again. So these teams really responding well to these invades. It looks like they have the proper idea of what to do if a team does decide to go 5 men strong into your jungle and take away your own buff. Why not just go to the other side? Because for sure nobody's there to defend.
Reflect the movements of the enemy team. That's the game plan here for Resurgence, to try and mirror the movements coming from Hexa Alpha.
Yeah, and so far for Resurgence, what stands out to me that has led to their victory during the first match is their control over the Abyssal Dragon. The moment they took the first one, they really just snowballed off of it and didn't let Hex Alpha get any objectives aside from that one tower.
Great two-man stun coming from the Alice, but at this point, not yet level 4. No ultimates have been unlocked, so you can expect that it will be more of a standstill. They will just go for chip damage.
Yeah, no real follow-up damage yet. Just really trying to chunk down your opponent, add more pressure to them. As top lane seems to be the target here. Try and shut down the Lubu, not let him get as much free farm so that he doesn't become a split-pushing threat. There's
First
level
blood
4
at
onto the
stake here.
Zephys.
First blood's at stake.
Are they gonna go for this dive? Oh, they're going!
Dive with the ultimate, and from the Zephys, Lubu gets ganked by 4 members, giving the first blood to Jognar.
Oh, that was a good executed dive by Hexa Alpha, but the Abyssal Dragon, they saw 4 members head towards the top side. Resurgence immediately with the counter attack, picking up the first Abyssal Dragon, which has been their key to success so far. So in the end, was that actually worth it for Hexa Alpha?
As far, looks like they will show return. They will return the favor towards Hexa Alpha.
He's surviving quite long though, and Jognar is already here to respond. The Malok's still up.
Was not there in time.
Yeah, it looks like Resurgence were able to pull off a dive of their own, even though the Malok survived a bit longer compared to his counterpart Lubu. Resurgence still able to respond with their first kill of the game.
3 minutes into the game, looks like we're seeing Resurgence going for the Abyssal Dragon, going for the bigger picture, the more objective-based playstyle we're seeing from Resurgence, whereas for Hexa Alpha, they want to snowball as fast as they can. They risk the Abyssal Dragon for that first blood.
Yeah, they're going for the long con here, just going towards that late game. Of course, they do have champions that work very well. Once the Violet gets towards that late game, she dishes out a ton of damage, as we saw demonstrated earlier today. And the Lubu as well, once a few of these towers go down, he becomes a split-pushing threat. It's just complemented by the fact that he also have to send out for some follow-up. As mid lane, we see an engage. Looks like the...
another pickup there by the Alice coming from Resurgence, because we did see Resurgence trying to respond to it, but Hexa Alpha did a better job by locking down the L'Oreal.
Yeah, Hexa Alpha are trying to push the pace of the game here, not letting Resurgence hit that point where it's just going to be incredibly difficult to deal with the picks that they do have. Hexa Alpha, they're really trying to make this game a bit quicker, as you see a Senya ult here in the top lane, able to respond to this dive.
From the top lane, the heal is there, and Resurgence going for the counterattack. 4 members are very low. Cleanup is gonna happen here by Hexa Alpha, going onto the Thane, low on health. Oh, L'Oreal, can he go for the cleanup? No.
Yeah, Hexa Alpha abusing the numbers advantage they had towards the top lane, regardless of Senil using his ultimate to respond there. It was still a 4v3 in favor of Hexa Alpha, so they will pick up 1 kill to their name. Resurgence though, they don't trade off any objectives this time because there were no members to actually go onto the Abyssal Dragon, which has spawned already. I'm pretty sure though that both teams are looking towards that objective, especially Resurgence, since they want to build on their earlier take and have more golden experience to their team.
And so far, the gold lead is in favor of Hexa Alpha by a small margin. But for Resurgence, they did take away the Abyssal Dragon. Note that the gold for Hexa Alpha is just the spike from that first blood.
Yeah, and now looks like the game has slowed down a bit as mid lane, Jognar will find the Thane, but he does have that dash away. Will be charging away from the enemy team. Normally not the way that you'd want to use that charge. It is an initiating ability, but can also be used as an escape.
And now for Hexa Alpha, they are eyeing this Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, I wonder though, can Resurgence actually respond to this? Do you have a lot of members in the area? I think Hexa Alpha are respecting that fact. They don't want to risk anything here because we have seen steals happen throughout the day. And now Resurgence actually have more initiative towards the Abyssal Dragon. Now the question, Hexa Alpha, do you guys want to challenge this?
They may go for it.
It's only the Alice here. I think they're gonna invest everyone onto the top lane and try and pick up a kill there in trade for that Abyssal Dragon, and they were able to pick up the kill onto the Lubu. So Hexa Alpha going for more kills here instead of going for that more objective-based game. In the long run though, this will favor Resurgence as they do have more gold spread throughout their team. We haven't seen those kills manifest into anything big for Hexa Alpha.
As far as we can see, 2 Abyssal Dragons the side of our Resurgence, whereas for Hexa Alpha, going more on for pickoffs, went for the Lubu there. Zeno tried to go for the respawns, but in the end, it was a bit too late. They were too focused on the Abyssal Dragon, needed an execute damage.
I don't think they know. Oh, they know. They're scouting out that bush. We'll find out the Alice that is trying to go for something sneaky versus Resurgence. Now what I'm really waiting for is for Hexa Alpha to translate these kills into objectives, possibly taking down a tower and open up the map. Lubu's really not having a good time in this top lane.
Yep, not to mention that the Lubu is having a difficult time responding and trying to help the fight. Zeno getting ganked by 4 members of Hexa Alpha. Malak tries to cut the escape here with the ultimate. This cues Resurgence drive something all over the map, but looks like they will trade it off for the Spirit Sentinel.
Yeah, the Sentinel not able to get away. They're gonna try and push down this top lane. The Violet has had a fairly free time here to scale and farm up, already level 11. And regardless of the kill score being this much in favor of Hexa Alpha, Resurgence are just playing towards the objective, securing way more towers throughout the map and more dragons to their name. So far though, Resurgence are actually trying to avoid fights here where...
Oh, what's this? Gank happening here in the top lane, but looks like they will not commit to this fight. Letting Resurgence push with the Lubu. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Malak is going against Xeniel. They have lost the tower in the bot lane.
Oh, look at Chongdar.
And Chongdar gets picked up. Game's protection is there to try and deny some CC and damage. Xeniel for the heal. The Angel is here in the mid lane to try and push out the lane. Violet's still there, sticking strong here, getting the Malak here. But will ultimate out away from the fight.
Yeah, that's no more Malak ultimate for this Abyssal Dragon take though, so one less option to engage, I think. Just like that, Resurgence will be securing the 3rd dragon of the game. Man, things have not panned out so well for Hexa Alpha. They're gonna want to find that fight though and really move to take some more objectives, because the longer this game goes, it really doesn't favor them.
And they have 3 Abyssal Dragons, more gold equally distributed among the teams. And now the question is, can Hexa Alpha close this game? Thay goes in for the initiation there. No follow-up, no knock-up did connect from Thay. So it will not commit for the fight for Resurgence. Zenial tries to go in for the lead. Nothing does connect. Will happen here in the top lane side. Lubo trying to go in here. Oh, that was close call. One more hit from Ari, but in the end, gets the outplay.
Yeah, the Lubu really not having a great time here. Already 0-3-0. And I think that stems from the fact that Hexa Alpha puts so much focus towards shutting him down. Really not making the Lubu relevant here as far as what split push he can do. Now the Xeniel is caught between a rock and a hard place. Everyone from Hexa Alpha diving down here.
Oh,
can he get out though? I don't think he can jump out. He can only survive for so much long. As L'Oreal will try to respond here to the members of Hexa Alpha, but just too many people here. The Abyssal Dragon doesn't matter. If there are 5 members from Hexa Alpha running you down, it looks like this death ball of a lineup will just constantly move around this map. They're really trying to force that game here as the mid lane tower will go down. The fighting has not ended. L'Oreal is caught between 5 members. She will not be able to trade anyone yet. Lubu trying to pick up any exit kills here. Everybody from Hexa Alpha is solo, but in the end, nobody from their lineup goes down and they get out for free.
What a risky engage coming from Hexa Alpha, but in the end, no casualties. That is what you expect from a team who knows the capabilities of the champions and really cleverly going in and out of the fight, but also thanks to the support coming from the allies.
Oh, look at this response though. I did say that Resurgence are playing the objective game. The Darkslayer will be secured for their team, so that's a bit more security once we do move on to those 5v5 fights. But Hexa Alpha, they have this death ball and they're constantly rolling towards Resurgence. And looking at that previous one, like you mentioned, they were able to navigate it fairly well. Now though, the question, can they navigate it well enough versus a team that has the Darkslayer secured, as Chognar wants to go for that bit of poke. Without the rest of his team though, I don't think he will be happy if he does go for that full-on engage. He's just really trying to annoy Resurgence.
There's the engage coming in hot. Darkslayer empowered teammates from Resurgence trying to force something in the mid lane. Lubu goes out with the Red Stallion there. There's the Hizipit for that powerful slow zone, but doesn't stop Resurgence. They have the Darkslayer buff.
Yeah, I think Hexa Alpha aren't interested in looking for a fight here. They don't want to risk losing versus a team that has a Darkslayer secured. They are just happy though defending this mid lane tower so that it doesn't go down, as Malak is losing quite a bit here.
Abyssal Dragon getting taken away by Resurgence. This is the 4th Abyssal Dragon onto the hands of Resurgence. This is huge. They're catching up in the gold lead. And if they take away this turret, this will be in favor for Resurgence. Lane goes in for a great engage. But in the end, L'Oreal tries to go for the poke damage. Zenial is there in case things go
we see
really
Malak
bad.
dive in here. He can choose to ult if Hexa Alpha do want to fight. They're trying to look for it here. I think the Darkslayer has just time out. Here comes the Malak ultimate. Will Zephys follow up? It looks like they are on top of the Violet. She needs to get out. The death ball that Hexa Alpha has been rolling with is being shut down here. Resurgence are fighting back. The members are so low. Can Resurgence find anything else here? I don't think so.
Is it fit for the disengage? Will not let them escape with a 2-man knockup coming from Resurgence. Green while Hexa Alpha trying to escape here. Malak with a shield, but in the end not enough. Alice tried to assist the Malak, but in the end could not rescue his teammate.
Yeah, Hexa Alpha, they were forcing the issue there. It looked like they really wanted to start the fight because the Darkslayer just timed out, but Resurgence were able to team fight really well and pick the right target, and they were able to shut down the engage coming from Hexa Alpha. So it looks like the objective game paying off for them so far. They have reclaimed the gold lead here, so that's a big win for Resurgence, regardless of the kill score being in favor of Hexa Alpha.
In a way, the gold is equally distributed among Resurgence, and now 30 minutes into the game, let's see what will happen here. We see Thane and Alice seeing each other in the mid lane.
The Hexa Alpha, they need to respect the fact that Resurgence are quite ahead here, especially when it comes to the 5v5, because Resurgence were able... Oh, wait up.
Knock up, this could potentially be the engage. The Resurgence is looking for. Malak is coming in, but it will be the Zenial first to respond with a heal.
He's gonna drop
and
in.
The damage reduction. Malak will drop in with that beautiful knockup, but in the end will not commit to that fight. He cannot survive. It looks like Resurgence are pushing strong against Hexa Alpha.
Yeah, Resurgence are slowly catching up in kills here. The Chognar is under threat. I don't think that tower will protect him. One more hit will take him down. He will go down in the end. Now the core is exposed. Resurgence, they want to set up that rematch versus Will New Era. I don't think Hexa Alpha can defend their core. Resurgence, even though they're still down in kills, they will be taking the game in the end 2-0 over Hexa Alpha.
Well played by Resurgence. Despite the kill score not being in favor, they focused more on the Abyssal Dragon, taking away 4, and not to mention the Darkslayer.
Yeah, that's why you play for objectives, look, especially in AOV where objectives are really the key to winning games, regardless of the kill score being heavily in favor of Hexa Alpha. In the end, they didn't really translate that into any objectives, and that's, I think, the main reason of why Resurgence came out on top. And now they will be heading straight to the finals for that best of 5 versus Will New Era.
Well played by Resurgence, and they get to have a rematch against Will New Era. The finals will be coming up next year, so we'll determine who will be the wild card moving to the Valor Cup Grand Finals. But here's the summary of our game, our match 3, ending here. These are our standings. So with that said, looks like Resurgence and Will New Era will face each other in the finals.
Yeah, a rematch of that game earlier today. Hopefully though, for Resurgence, they do have a strategy planned out for this one, and maybe they can bounce back from their earlier loss. No more feeling out process here because both teams already know what each other wants to do, and they're going to definitely set up plans to counter that.
So we'll be going into a short break to resume onto the playouts. We have been Shotcasters. My name is Vulcan. With me was Chista. After the short break, we will move on to the playoffs.